Hello and welcome to Investors Hangout, your weekly guide to making smarter investment decisions. This series is brought to you by Aditya Birla Sun Life Mutual Fund and Value Research. Now, have you ever wondered if you can grow your wealth to 100 crore rupees? Well, for most, it's a far-fetched dream or even beyond that, but it is actually possible with the right mindset, discipline, and strategies. And to help us do that, I'm joined by our CEO Dhirendra Kumar and KS Rao. He's Investors Hangout is actually his brainchild, and he's head of investor education and distribution development at Aditya Birla Sun Life AMC. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Now, to begin with, 100 crore, it's a massive amount. For most, it's people don't even think in those terms, most investors. But for an average investor, how realistic is this amount for an average investor, and what is the right mindset to embark on this journey?
Thanks, Ruchika, for having me. Indeed, thanks, Dhiren, to be part of this Investor Hangout, and I'm glad it's the 308th episode, and the journey which we started, almost 9 years. It's a 1 decade we are going to complete soon, and it's a great to be, and sure the traction is good. And if I can look back, and if the 10 years back, if we are talking about this 100, we would have spoken as 50 crores. Or there is another way I put it. I mean, I started my career in the mutual fund industry way back in 92, and the fund house which I worked used to have a fund for the children's. It is a children's gift growth fund, I mean, to name it. And we used to call, that time the dream is somebody to how to make your child lakpati. And it is lakpati, one like, and it was a SIP. It is a one kind of SIP, but it is not a monthly, but yearly. On a birthday, you give a gift to the child, annual SIP, and you can make your child within 18 years. You can make him or her lakpati. And this is 30 years back story. And today's story, if I can look at, I mean, that time if Mr. Amitabh Bachchan was to run a KBC, probably that would have been not called KBC, that would have been called KBL, Kaun Banega Lakpati. And in 2000s when we came back, it was a Kaun Banega Crorepati. And look at next 15 to 30 years time, if I can look at Viksit Bharat of 2047, probably 100 crores is not an unrealistic one to get if we are starting it with the right mindset. And with the right approach. And today the best part I look at is one, you can plan it, and one, you can execute it. Way back in 30 years back, if you are thinking to make lakpati, then it's a monumental task to prepare a plan. Today it's much more easier. I mean, if I can come back to mutual fund insight and learn something, how things can shape it up. And what kind of mindset is required? First is the mindset that 100 crores is possible. Right. And then it's called Sankalp Se Siddhi. You have resolved that I am making it 100 crores. And I was reading Dhiren's article, I mean, is editorial on this month. And very nicely he put, once you make this decision, then other things will become irrelevant for you. You focus on your one goal of a wealth creation. And this wealth creation of 100 crores could be a combination of your other goals. It could be, my retirement planning kitty. It could be my other goals which I have. Then how do I plan? And then that's the most important part. I mean, probably I call it as a kind of a your GPS, your goal positioning system to reach your 100 crores. And why you need to get there? Probably how you need to get, I mean, SIP is a mode I look at which is helping. That is, annual SIP can make you lakpati, and monthly SIP can make you, crorepati to 100 crores. And you can step up. That SIP is a great thing in the mutual fund tool, and you can always benchmark where I am reaching, when I am reaching, whether my goal is nearby or a little far-fetched. I can always review it. I personally feel it is possible. Have a growth mindset. Probably I can look at another GPS for it. It is the one is you need to growth mindset. Second, I look at you need to be prosperity centric, prosperity conscious. S could be your strategic approach to reach the 100 crores.
Right. Dhirendra, would you like to add something there?
I would say that most people should aspire for it. One is that having much more than you need, or having a audacious goal, is not going to hurt you anyway. Assuming that you start with a 100 crore goal and you reach up to 80, I won't feel sad about it.
Good enough.
Yeah, it's much more than good enough anyway. So, also I feel that, it is possible. It would not have been possible given that, there is information. The investment market has been democratized. It has become possible for the small guy to participate. And most of the values, most of the habits which you need to accumulate 100 crore worth of financial net worth are the same. In fact, the first step is the most difficult, is the hardest. When you have no money and you have so many needs and you have to invest that 5,000 rupee, 10,000 rupee, that is the hardest part. Once you are onto that, once your habit formation is in place and once you have greater surplus, then you start working towards that. I think 100 crore is a nice round number to have, and it's not a small amount. Even today it is a very large amount, and even later, 30 years from now, 40 years from now, what happens is that these numbers look very big, but the inflation is so consistent that in what looks like 10 times more, in 30 years time it looks like it has turned out to be so real. So I think one, it is ambitious and it is good to have an ambitious target. Moving on this roadmap, it requires just staying the course. And today, given the resources and given the mechanisms of participation, they are so safe and now they are so democratized that it is possible for everybody to get going.
And when we talk about mindset, we were discussing how there are 6 stages to an investor's journey. So if you could elaborate on that as well.
Any investor's journey in his lifetime is a progression, and all these progression, as I was saying, that the beginner's mindset is the hardest one, because you have to really cut on today's expenses and start saving. And that is the most difficult thing. Then you get into a little bit of surplus and you get used to investing your money to grow it faster or grow it well. So that growth mindset, and that is not that difficult, but it requires discipline, because every time you get going, you are there, you will get 50 distraction. And having money, surplus money or accumulated money after a stage when you had no money, is a very difficult thing to reconcile with, because everything else will look like a desire which you can fulfill, and not being able to and not doing it. Then comes reconciling with the stability. That is another phase which everybody has to learn, that unless you reconcile with having wealth and living comfortably with it, if you don't, then you will lose your sleep, or you will get anxious, and you will find different ways, and you will fall in habit, or there will be people who will come with funny ideas, awkward ideas, and you will actually you'll fall prey to it. Then you start thinking, once you have something which is sizably more than enough that you can consume in all your life, then you start thinking in terms of many of the ideas which comes to our mind are not possible if you don't have the resources, or if you don't have a roadmap to having that much of resource. So you start thinking strategically that you can actually have a philanthropic goal, you can have a personal goal, you can have a consumption goal, you can have a you'll be aspiring for something which you could not think of in the past. You could be aspiring of spending your life in a completely different direction, which is not possible. So thinking strategically about which is the best way of spending that money, or using that money as a resource. Then then I think the last stage, so after being independent and stable, then comes leaving a legacy. That is a completely different mindset, whether you leave it for your successors, whether you leave it for your grandchildren, for your children, or for the society, and all these things are a function of how much resource you have. You can do everything at every level. I can be very charitable even with my 5,000 rupee, and I could be very impactfully charitable with my 100 crore rupee. And and there is another advantage of having 100 crore of your own accumulation, is that once it's not just 100 crore, having the confidence of being done that will make you a completely different person as compared to somebody not having meaningful or not being financially independent in the first place.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. So the first step is covered, setting the mindset, the growth mindset. Moving on, when you actually get down to doing it, what is the first step? How should one begin, this journey?
Yeah, I think it's the most important. Once you have this mindset, how do I approach I mean, my goal post is decided. I need 100 crores. Means, I'm setting my goals. Then I probably the second best part I look at is, can I look at some professional help? I mean, if I have a professional coach or mentor or advisor that can help me how I can strategize my investments. Then that will followed by then strategic action plan. Probably again I put this as a GPS. Your goal is set, you got a professional coach, then you have a strategic plan. Your strategic plan could be, I think as Dhiren put it rightly, how I can start my first, the Pahla Kadam. It's like, my SIP. I mean, in mutual fund parlance, we always talk SIP. This Pahla Kadam of SIP for me is like a SIP could be step into the prosperity zone.
Yeah.
You get there, and I start whatever the money with which I have to start. And if the wealth accumulation, wealth creation is my goal, as you rightly put it, when I look at 100 crores, I may reach 50 crores, I may reach 80 crores, I do not know. And sometimes it so happens, this is one plan which I am looking at. There are other things which will come. Today you are also inheritance of large from your parents. That may add to you. There is a sudden windfall things which may come here. The moment you have this goal, everything which is coming in, you will ensure that you will channelize to your 100 crores. Right. It need not be a one action plan of my SIP will lead me there. This is the first step is SIP, which I put it. I mean, then I can look at. And second part, I also look at, when Dhiren was talking about, I look at this SIP in a three verticals. I mean, I have a multiple goals. I mean, what the first is whatever the savings money which we get it. Some of us, when we have such goals, lot of liquid money which is coming in, probably can I put into an investment which can be channelized, I can use the strategy very differently. Right. Second, I part is my investment goal. I mean, since it is going to be a long term, which is asset class which can work for me. And the last one, when he said, when I want to leave a legacy, can I put even a philanthropic goal that gives a lot of confidence? When in the beginning, when you said about mindset, one is a growth mindset, one you are little above the money, means, you are enjoying that money with that and it can be channelized to it. Right. Means have your goal, have your professional approach and have a strategy to reach. That's the Pahla Kadam is your goals. Second is you need to put the money to work for you. And the last but not the least, I looked at in mutual funds, we have this system called step up SIP. If somebody is starting, if I look at 100 crores is a timeline. If somebody is starting a career at 20 or 25 and at 60 or 65, if they are looking at their time period of this 100 crores to get, say 30 to 35 years, even at 10,000 rupees you start an SIP and you can give step up every year at 10%. If that can be at 15 to 20%, which is very much possible if you can put it in the Excel sheet.
Right. Now, is there a perfect plan to start with? The do's, the don'ts?
There is no perfect plan because everybody, and there can't be a perfect plan and there can't be a straight jacket perfect plan for everyone, assuming there was one. Simply because everybody's circumstances is different. Somebody will have a young sister who will be dependent, or you will have a young family, or you will have your parents who are dependent, or you could be a completely independent person and you're no family, nothing, and to begin with you could be starting with a lot of positive net worth to begin with, inheritance. So everybody's context and situation is different. But I think there is something which nobody can escape, is that in the lifespan of an investor, in any 10-year time period, 3-4 things will definitely come your way. One is that the market will go crazy with its rise, with its frantic rise. Then the market will fall freely when you will least expect it. And on both these occasions, you will panic and you will be tempted to run away. And the fact that you are, and this is where the whole journey is just as important. Because it's just not about the goal. If you are not getting acclimatized to the market, that market is like this only and it is going to remain like this. And if you run away, your losses are going to be permanent, or you will be deprived of this market. Third is that, you will have all kind of weird ideas that will come that, okay, from tomorrow, the world is changing. In last 30 years, in fact, in India, for any investor, the world has changed a couple of times. There will be opportunities and there will be threats and there will be con men who will be of a completely different level. And the moment you have some meaningful net worth, a lot of people will be eyeing you because, it is far easier to fool one guy than go and fool many people. And that some people, and the professional con men are very good at it. In every market, those people will come, and you have to escape that. And the other good advantage of having this roadmap and accumulating it yourself is that the kind of confidence that you will have in yourself to question everything, not getting distracted, is another bonus that you derive by executing your plan yourself. And as Mr. Rao was saying that, you need a coach, you need a guide. But to begin with, to need a coach and to have a guide, to begin with, because the odds are very much against you. To start with, you do with your 5,000 rupee, you do it with your 1,000 rupee, and I don't think any coach will be interested. So it is very important that this in connected world, you learn yourself, you understand some basic values, you put your variables. Yes, you will need those coach, you will need those guidance, you will need those reinforcement, you will need all those, reaffirmations. And that you will get once you have that money. But to begin with, you have to build the foundations yourself.
Probably I would like to add something what Dhiren said here. When you have any target which looks little more insane and very difficult, and that is a time where I need to focus on my goal, I need to minimize my distractions. And here when I have a larger goal, my distraction is when I create some wealth, suddenly I would like to convert and divert this into something else.
Right.
Either I spend or I invest for something else, or I indulge into something. How I can avoid the distraction. Second, when you have such goals, sometimes even we can't even anticipate before I drive, the road may have some pitfalls. Then do I have my right emergency fund?
Right.
Then that will help you this goal will never get distracted. Maybe while you are starting, ensure you have your emergency fund, ensure your other liabilities are taken care. Then let one goal can have a single-minded concentration and get there where you aim to get. Probably, I call it the SIP TIP, as a systematic investment plan and targeted investment portfolio, and SIP and TIP. And probably another thing I always say is you need to understand, always educate yourself. Don't need to educate too many things, but 3 things we need to educate compulsorily. That is called DIP. Delayed gratification, and you should have an impact of inflation and the power of compounding. If you understand this, once you understand the power of compounding, you would never like to break your investments. And impact of inflation, you always try to add something more. And once you have a delayed gratification, you will never take the money out and want to invest it for something else or indulge into something else.
Right. Now to wrap it up, like you said, the power of compounding and inflation, how it eats into your money. So how can investors harness this power of compounding to outpace inflation? Is there a strategy that can help one do that?
The best strategy is how long you are investing. It's a time. It's more than the par, the amount of interest you are getting, how long the money is getting invested. And the other day I was talking to one of the chairmen of the banks. He said every 5 years I am adding one bank of my current assets into the next. Means the power of compounding is you are doubling every 5 years of your assets. Probably that's another way you can look at that power of compounding coming in. And the power of compounding can work. But probably when I start my SIP, as I said earlier, currently I am starting with 10,000. My ability to start with 10,000, but every year I get my incremental extra money. Then can I step it up? That's why my power of compounding gets accelerated. And third is, there is a growth assets which I can look at, which can hedge against the inflation, like my equity or the asset class which I can look at. Then that can work me. That will give the extra bonus to me, extra addition to me. That way I am multiplying my power of compounding.
Right. And then to put it in perspective, 30 years back, probably 10 lakh was
10 lakh would have been, I have known people 30 years back who were retiring with their superannuation benefits all put together as 10 lakh rupees. And that was good enough. Today that will equate to, something like a crore of rupees.
Right.
And so it looks like a very big jump, 10 times. And if that amount is about 1 crore rupee today, 30 years down the line, it will be 10 crore rupee. So you will keep getting nasty surprises on the inflation. And if not on the inflation which the government is targeting for past couple of years, our inflation could be very different. Could be very different from what the government is calculating. So you have no choice, whether you aspire for 100 crore or not. but make sure that you have a very ambitious goal on the savings, because you can't really do with less when you need more. And having more will not hurt you, assuming that you don't get into legacy. But you need to it is going to be a nightmare for many Indians. The prospect of outliving your savings in your lifetime is something which is a very scary prospect. And this is where I think combination is needed. Discipline, starting early, increasing your amount. It is like planting a tree. If you don't plant every other day, it will not be able to take care of you. So what will grow is what you will put. And so it's very simple things, and you really don't have to be financially very sophisticated. If you can't do all of it, you will derive 80-90% of the benefits of investing. You need couple of beliefs that equity will deliver superior return over fixed income. Over a period of time, equity is not risky. And if you are regular with it, you will be able to reduce the risk of investing in equity quite substantially. And if you do it for a couple of years, you will develop a belief in it. And that's all that is needed.
All right, so no sophisticated tactics are required there. You just keep your goal in mind, be disciplined, stay consistent, and that's all that will take you to your goal of 100 crore. So that's all. Dhirendra, there's a viewer's question there that I'd like to move on to. Ravinder says he has a saving of 55 lakh rupees and all in liquid fund. He's saving money for buying a house worth 2.2 crore now. So what should be his roadmap?
The framework of buying a home is completely different. And I'm not talking of, real estate as an investment. Any amount of, the value of a house, and if you are able to borrow money to support it, your borrowing should be of a kind that not more than 30% of your income goes towards repayment of that. Whether it be 10-year, 15-year, 20-year loan is a different story, but whatever it be, it should not be, because otherwise you will be stressed all your life. Housing loan, home loan is a desirable thing to take simply because this is one loan where you are buying an asset, you will be saving on rent, and it can also potentially appreciate. And the comfort of owning a home is a psychologically big comfort. It can also help you get more ambitious with your investments once you have your home in place. So this should be a framework. If this 55 lakh rupee and the remaining money which he will borrow, if that is the case, he should go ahead and buy it. Second thing is that if that is not the case, then he should if that is not the case, then he should wait for this money to accumulate more, to grow further. And then if that time is likely to be 1 or 2 years, then this money should not be invested in liquid fund. Liquid fund is meant for investment, is meant for those things which you plan to spend immediately.
All right. Well, hope Ravinder, you got your answer there. Thank you for watching, and thank you for the valuable insights, gentlemen. For everyone watching, remember, the best time to start investing is now, and that will take you to your goals no matter what. Keep watching this space for more information. If you like the show, do subscribe to our YouTube channel. Take care. Bye for now.